My name's Rebecca Zeller, and I'm 16 years old, and I have anxiety and PTSD.
My name is Michael Ireland. I'm 15 and I have ADHD, uh, PTSD, and that's it.
Hi, my name is Kendra Morrison, and I'm 47, and I have a son with a disability. He's 15, and he has ADHD and anxiety, and he is currently getting services for that.
My name is Aiden Morrison. I am 15 and I have ADHD, ADD, and a depression disorder.
Hi, my name is Gail Falconer, and I've had the pleasure of raising 19 children, which sounds like a lot, and it was. 8 of them were adopted, and they all fit into the category of seriously emotionally disturbed. And we got some of them when they were very little, and some when they were, the last 3 we adopted were 9, 10, and 12. And starting out with the younger ones, we figured that we could, with a lot of love, we could just make things work good for them. But that's not what happens in this world.
What created my PTSD was I came from domestic violence with my dad, and I was originally born in Rockford, Illinois, and I experienced some of the domestic violence against my mom from my dad, and I would I would get very nervous and stuff going to his house and feel panicky because I know it wasn't in the best situation, and he also made me feel uncomfortable and stuff, and I saw some of the violence, and that's where I got my PTSD.
Well, there was problems with my dad. I used to live with him because when I was a little kid, my mom and my dad got divorced when I was 4, and from there I lived with my dad, and he was abusive, pretty abusive. I came to school with 2 black eyes, a broken rib, and bruises all over, and I came to school crying, and so then they did a police report and everything, and since then I've been living with my mom. That's how I got the PTSD.
Well, I try to figure out, behavior is a way of communicating something. We don't always know what that something is, but behavior is always about communicating. And so you have to figure out they're all different. And this is something the schools don't want to hear, but they're all different. They don't have on and off buttons that they just come on when you put them on. It's always there. And so we're always using different kind of strategies for each child. Mostly, though, we stood a lot with modification, behavior modification. We did a lot of active things. We found that if you kept them moving and doing things, it worked out better.
I remember Aiden had a preschool teacher who, at that age, they have to finger paint and stay in their own space and draw, and Aiden really had a really difficult time with that. He went to finger paint, and he didn't want to touch the paints because of this texture, and the preschool teacher and the assistants actually held his hands down to the paper, and he just screamed. And from that experience on, every time I had to leave him at school, because he was in a half-day program, he would just cry, and it took every ounce of strength in me to leave him there, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know anything about what he was experiencing, and I just really felt like I had no support as a parent, and I just wanted so much to help him, but I didn't understand it either, but it just broke my heart to leave him at school every day.
I feel I have a depression disorder because I was diagnosed with it a couple of years back, and I have not been diagnosed with anything, recent. So as far as I know, I still have it. The kind of school I go to is Amy Beale High School. It's a charter in the middle, literally smack in the middle of downtown, and it's a really good school. I really do like it.
I am going to a summer school right now through UNM Upward Bound, and I'll be starting school August 13th at Highland High School. I got into advocacy because I saw people changing the world and what their look on mental health was, and I said to myself that I can relate to some of these people because I do also have a mental disorder, and I was like, I just want to change people and help the best I can because I see that kids my age struggle and everything, so I just wanted to make a difference.
But it doesn't come easy. You have to get out there and you've got to prove your point. You have to know what the law says. I've read the federal law several times. And that's something hard to admit because there's like 732 pages or something on a special federal registry. But I wanted to know what my rights were and what my kids' rights were. And it's really important that people know that.
With Aiden, his services began through the school initially, and I really relied on the school to deal with those issues because a lot of them were coming out in the school setting. And unfortunately, at the time, I didn't know a lot about sensory integration dysfunction. I didn't even really know a lot about ADHD.
I used to not be good with friends, good with social, and then I started making a lot of good friends when I came to Amy Beal, and then from there I think I have at least like 20 friends, and that's more than I've ever dreamed of having. Challenges on day-to-day life kind of go from social to, I guess, academic. Social meaning that I can sometimes become annoying, but I still manage to keep that enthusiasm. And then academic, I seem to become easily distracted with something, like fidgeting with my hands or even spacing out into my own little dream world.
High school? Well, this year I started high school, and it was okay at the beginning of the year because I had to move schools, or I had to move school districts. And it was tough to make friends at the beginning, but I did. And then towards the middle of the year, I was doing okay in grades. I don't know, I kind of fell into the wrong crowd and got mixed up with the wrong people. So I had me and my buddies got in trouble, and then we got, by the school police, we were labeled because we got in trouble once with marijuana, and we were labeled as criminals. So every time somebody would, get in trouble with drugs, or like, if somebody, had an overdose or something, they would go to me and my friends all the time. We normally got searched like 4 or 5 times a week. Got pulled out of class like same 3 or 4 times a week. It was a bummer, so we didn't really like it. So I have smoked marijuana and I have smoked spice. The reason why I smoked marijuana is because all my friends have done it, and I've researched it, made sure it's all good. So that's why I smoke it, and plus it relaxes me with my PTSD. Spice was a bad idea. Me and my friends tried it one day and got really, 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 really stoned. And then we kept on doing it for like a couple of months, and then my buddy, or we knew him for like 6 months, he smoked spice for almost 2 years. And about 3 months when we were hanging out with him, one day he said, "Dude, I just threw up a bunch of black stuff in my toilet." And we were like, "Oh my gosh, really?" And he's like, "Yeah." And then a week later, he wound up in a coma, and then like a month later, he died.
In the past, to work with my PTSD, I tried to stay out of contact with my dad and not think about going back home in Illinois and all the memories and stuff, and also got help through Hagaris. And ever since then, Hagaris has helped me a lot with my disorder.
I want to go to college because a lot of my family members have gone to college. Also, I feel that college gives me a better chance to get a better job and to have a better future. For me, I'm really interested in the medicine field. It's very interesting to me, and it kind of makes me think and wonder about it. Also, how the human body works. And since doctors, it takes them a very long time, I'd rather be something that's simple and quick. I guess not so simple, but something I can do, and I feel that is still in the field of medicine.
The experience of taking a college class is, it just gets me prepared for later on in life, and it's very interesting, but I'm also getting a high school credit for Spanish, so I don't have to take Spanish at school. I think I want to go to college to learn more about advocacy in the community and everything like that, and also if my lifetime career that I want to do doesn't work out, then I'll learn more about like photography, more things that I'm interested in. But either way, I'll probably do both in college. I believe doing advocacy work is a big passion. I just want to help people that may have went through similarities and differences like I did, and I can just see the expression on their face when they're happy and people are listening to them.
Unfortunately, I'm one of the statistics. It's very hard for couples to stay together. And in lieu of all of Aiden's difficulties and the strain it took on our family, his father chose to leave right before we went into our legal process with the school, which again was really hard on Aiden because he made it, in his mind, he took it as it was his fault. But his dad just could not handle the pressure anymore.
Well, we've been married for 36 years. My husband and I both love kids, and when we got married, like I said, we couldn't have our own. And we just always seemed to gravitate to having a lot of children. When he was on the sheriff's department in San Diego, he ran the program for kids, and we always had kids at the house, and teenagers, I call them kids, but we tried to do a blend of what a foster treatment home would be like, a therapeutic foster treatment home, but also be a real home for these guys. And so it was always a balancing act on trying to keep that happening. We have a thing on our wall that says fair isn't equal. Fair is everybody getting what they need. And so basically that's how we raised our children.
His disability is always going to be there, but it doesn't have to be a disability. He realizes now, him and I will sit down sometimes and go through magazines, and I tell him, business magazine, and I tell him, look, they actually look for kids that have ADHD because you have so many gifts that you can give. So he's really gone from feeling horrible about himself, that he is a hindrance to the school and those around him, to really embracing his deficits, so to speak, and turning them into skills and how they can work for him. So he's very much interested in college and life, and that's such a turnaround from the way he was about 2 years ago.
I think with the, especially with the ADHD, I'm a lot more enthusiastic than you'd find a lot of people. I can actually laugh at a lot of jokes, and I can actually, make my other friends even happy with the hyperactive kind of side of it. Another strength would be kind of the chance to, find some other ways to learn, because there's, besides just sitting in classroom and listening to the teacher lecture, you can actually have visuals, you can have hands-on things. So for me, it's a new experience. I usually visit my dad once a month if I'm lucky, and then about 2 weeks to a month during summer. It's not very long when I visit my dad. It's like a weekend, and that's pretty much it.
And he was always like that. I mean, he wasn't beating me every day. We had good times and stuff, but he just taught the old-fashioned way and got a little bit too much into it, because he used to be a really bad alcoholic, but then he went to AA, and then he smoked. So that got him pretty on edge. If he was willing to get help and take maybe anger management classes and show that he's trying to improve his situation, then I would probably let him have a chance, and we'd, talk sometimes and maybe progress our relationship from there. But he just doesn't want to seem to do that. He just seems to blame it on everybody else and how everybody else is the problem. So I don't see that happening. I mean, he doesn't have that type of personality.
When you have a child with a disability, one thing that I learned, and I always tell people, I've learned more from my children than any college degree could have ever given me. With kids with disabilities, it's really important to understand the discipline and just how you interact with them.
I guess a couple of things I might like to share would be, one is to remember that these guys, the kids, they don't wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to get up and have bad behaviors. They don't plan that at all. And second of all, I think that as adults we need to keep a real firm grasp on what is it that these guys really need, and how do we help them get that and not to back off. And the third thing would be to remember to address things with common sense. I think if you have a common sense approach, you're always going to win. That'd be about it. And love them.
To be honest, I'd probably say the disability you have doesn't form your personality, and it's really how you think. And if you have a disability, then don't take it as hard as it may seem, because your disability is just a way of being unique and special in your own way.